Ladies and gentlemen, this is Cedric Alexander, and you are listening to the This Is Awesome Wrestling Show.
Produced by the Cleveland Sound Radio Network, here is the This Is Awesome Wrestling Show, hosted by Glenn Moore and Steve Guy.
Episode number 84. This is Awesome Wrestling Show. This is AwesomeWrestlingShow.com. TIA Wrestling on Twitter and Instagram. And search us on Facebook. This is Awesome Wrestling Show. Coming right at you. Not a lot of news to talk about for the show, so we're going to keep it short and sweet for you this week. But a few news topics to get into, a couple fun questions to ask that we're going to toss around. And we'd love to hear your opinion when you listen to this episode. The Cavs play in 2 hours, and so we need to wrap it up, Steve. Get this up over and done very, very quickly so I can edit this and get it up to the masses. And I'm pardoned for my voice, or if I sneeze or cough during the show. I am feeling the effects of this godforsaken Cleveland weather and the unstable weather that is Cleveland, Ohio. So I apologize if you hear a sneeze or a cough, or I just puke in the microphone.
You're gonna vomit into the microphone?
I did yesterday, not the microphone, but personally. So hopefully you don't catch the germ, Steve.
I'll stay on this side of the studio.
Hopefully you got your shots, but
thank goodness we use separate microphones.
All right, a few topics we're going to talk about that happened the past week. Adam Rose got arrested. We'll talk about that. ESPN is putting a 30 for 30 on XFL. That should be fun. Stephanie McMahon is going to write a new book. Is there going to be a chapter on the Macho Man? I maybe not. No.
Probably not.
Probably not. And then we're going to play some fun, some questions out there for you and for Steve and I. EC3 and James Storm were casted. Well, they tried out for The Amazing Race. So we want to know what two wrestling people, could be divas, women's wrestlers.
That's right.
Could be men, could be managers, could be behind the scenes people, could be Vince. What two wrestling people would you want to be on The Amazing Race paired together? We'll talk about Kofi Kingston going back in time yesterday on Raw on the fun bit. And what WWE superstar, which one would you like to go back in time for their careers and kind of, go back to the good old days, so to speak. But first, we want to give a shout out to Stipe Miocic, a guy that I know as Steven Miocic, because that's what he called him when I knew him 15 years ago, playing ball with him, winning the UFC World Heavyweight Championship, won it in the first round.
Knocked him right out.
And won it way past midnight if you're watching in Cleveland. But he is from Cleveland, Ohio, and he is the UFC Heavyweight Champion. So we're trying to get him on the show as well, and hopefully have him in studio to talk maybe some wrestling and obviously some MMA with him. So congrats to him on winning the UFC Championship. Of course, want to give a plug out to AIW, AIWrestling.com, for all their future events, and I'm sure we'll get to that before the show wraps up as well. So the big story in the last week when it comes to wrestling is Adam Rose arrested for tampering with a witness and then a domestic battery charge. The felony is for the tampering, and the domestic is for misdemeanor. So he was held in jail for a couple nights.
Yeah, because it happened on the weekend. So typically, if it happens on the weekend, they hold you until Monday.
No, it was.
Right?
No, it was.
Didn't it happen on a Saturday?
No, I think it was Wednesday. It happened Wednesday.
Was it?
Yeah, I posted the story on their website. This is AwesomeWrestlingShow.com. Posted the because he went on the 12th for his arraignment. So this happened on the 11th. So this was early morning, May 11th, which was Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah.
So basically, him and his wife got in a fight. She was going to she was going to call the police. He grabbed the phone away, grabbed her head, and probably screamed in her face. Cops came. and then that's what the charge was. The felony charge is a little bit too much. Tampering with a witness. It should be more hindering a 911 call, but I'm sure the felony is going to be dropped. But anyway, it's not looking good for him because he was already suspended for violating the wellness policy. So,
but he had a doctor's note. He was going to try to get away from that.
And then he was suspended indefinitely again. So he was on the double secret
probation here.
Suspended, whatever you want to call it. But not looking good. So I'm sure they'll let the court deal with in court. And if his contract is up soon, maybe let him go then. But once this is kind of, played out, I'm sure he will be gone from WWE.
You couldn't have. Well, you could have, but it's a pretty dramatic 180 from what we've seen of Adam Rose over the last year or two. When you think about the E60 documentary that comes out and it follows him and, his son, I believe he had, with the health issues and his wife, and you just, becomes a guy that people are really pulling for in general, and they, they're happy that he's making it somewhat, at least on the roster, making the good money, and then come back right to this. It's like, man, what a PR 180, realistically.
In the arraignment, too, they said there was an incident in March, so this is not a first-time thing between these two.
That's no good.
So I'm sure this happened before March, probably, too. I'm not saying that's true, but sometimes this is, more than a once incident, and this time the cops, were called and came. So, surprisingly, the judge let him go with no restraining order against his wife because of the special needs, because for his son.
Yeah.
The judge was lenient enough to recognize that and say, well, both parents need to be there. If you watch the E60, his son needs to be fed through a tube every day. I'm sure that's stress for the wife, and they have a baby too, another kid. So, kudos to the judge for recognizing that and letting him go. He hasn't really committed. I don't think he's committed any prior history of crime. So letting him go and letting him, letting that no restraining order be void during the court case. Hey, kudos to the judge, but still, I'm sure we have seen the last of Adam Rose in WWE.
Yeah, unfortunately, more than likely. Like, you hope whatever is happening there that gets straightened out. Having been around people that have ADD pretty badly, this kind of goes back to that too. I don't know if that's the case. It's pure speculation, but it just in an instance, I could easily see this guy, it all comes back to these medication that he's supposed to have and then gets kicked out of WWE supposedly, allegedly for that and testing positive with that in there. Maybe if he's not taking it, his personality's changed, that edge is there, and unfortunate events here. Yeah. So, who knows? You hope he just writes everything there.
Now we've seen, Damian Sandow get released, Wade Barrett, guys that are going to have careers after WWE. With Adam Rose, though,
would he have a career? Yeah.
Is he a guy that you would want to see if he came to Cleveland for AIW? Sandow and Wade Barrett would be two guys I want to see. But if you're a fan, would you pay extra to see Adam Rose?
I don't know that you pay extra, but you'd pay. That may be a ticket where your more casual wrestling fan comes out.
Yeah.
So the people who are going to come are still going to come, and then you might get some extra people who are just going to show up.
Yeah, but he's not going to be a guy where you can kind of feature and say, "Oh, Damian Sandow's coming."
Right.
People come out in droves to see Damian Sandow or even Wade Barrett. But Adam Rose, even though he's a veteran, been around the business for a very long time, he just didn't have that luster. And hey, we watched the E60. He was Kruger.
Leo Kruger previously,
and that wasn't working out. They said, "Hey, this is make or break with the Adam Rose character." NXT got hot, and then WWE was cool at first, and then they incorporate. He was more of a comedy with the bunny, and it was just stupid. It was dumb, and that killed momentum. They tried to be the dark Adam Rose,
and
the party pooper Adam Rose. That didn't work.
I enjoyed the whole Adam Rose being a part of the Social Outcast.
Me too. I enjoyed that too.
The Social Outcast was fun.
Yeah.
When he'd say goofy things and they were just looking like, no, what?
But other than that, like I said, this is it for Adam Rose. And it's interesting to see if this pans out, this charge, and whatever happens in court, what will happen, post WWE. But we wish him luck, and hopefully everything gets panned out. Speaking of something that maybe WWE doesn't want you to know about, the XFL, we just don't want to recognize that it happened.
Forget, yeah.
Just forget XFL happened for a year.
Should the XFL be inducted into the celebrity wing of the Hall of Fame? Should He Hate Me be inducted into the celebrity wing of the WWE Hall of Fame?
I don't think Vince will ever utter the words XFL ever again. But he might if ESPN will do a 30 for 30 on XFL. Jonathan Coachman last week on the Ross Report stated that the ESPN is working on an XFL 30 for 30. They're watching old game footage. They're watching old promos. This old footage from the whole time XFL was around was, for a year and a half?
Yeah.
Not even. If you don't know what the XFL is, it was like 15 years ago. Vince McMahon thought it'd be great to have his own football league. And, hey, the attendance was there. First few weeks, they had 35,000 people going to games.
Well, they actually say that the attendance typically did pretty well because it was largely in cities where they didn't have professional sports teams or football teams, at least. In L.A., they no longer had a football team at the time. Las Vegas has no professional sports team except they had this. So that was always interesting. It was the ratings. Those ratings dropped.
Whew, they were,
but the games were kind of fun once they started to figure out the rules.
Yeah.
I watched it.
I watched it too.
Tommy Maddox, baby. Became a hero.
Yeah, there was a lot of NFL players that went from the XFL to the NFL, and you even had 5 players win a Super Bowl in the NFL after their XFL careers. So, and obviously Tommy Maddox, he was in the Super Bowl XL with the Steelers. But the legacy for XFL lives on because there are a lot of broadcast elements.
Oh, yeah.
That they use today.
They were revolutionary.
The camera above the huddle and behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, they call it
used.
the X cam or something, and
so.
Now it's the Sky cam on Fox or something. But
they any network never used to interview players or coaches, in timeouts or in between halves or quarters, and now you see it. NHL interviews players, NBA coaches. Even Major League Baseball managers, that's incorporated. So, you have some key elements that you see now. The legacy of XFL still lives on because these networks have stolen the idea that Vince brought in. And then the UFL after tried to copy XFL. And like we said, the XFL in San Francisco drew 35,000 people to a game, while UFL brought 6,000 in the same area when they came. So the attendance was there, the hype was there, they had the cheerleading cam was there.
Yeah.
So that was great. But the rating, like you said, the ratings, and I don't think, even if, like I said, a millionaire, and Vince McMahon, all the money in the world to fund this, money doesn't buy ratings. And the NFL is king. And one season, and NBC was like, see you later, done. And now NBC broadcasts football, and then they broadcast, I think, arena football games now. But obviously NFL trumps it all. But, hey, Vince doesn't want you to know about this because he lost about $60 million.
Yeah.
And NBC lost $60 million too, so they both lost a lot of money.
You wonder if today's day and age would the XFL have worked because there were so many other cable outlets that there weren't back then. Potentially, it could have happened. I mean, arena football does decent on local cable channels and whatnot. So, why couldn't the XFL now in today's day and age?
If you're watching a 30 for 30 on XFL, and 30 for 30, for those who don't know, goes, they pick a topic and they go in depth about the topic, interviewing people from that era or that one topic, and then you go in depth with information, educational stuff, and footage. If there was one thing you want to know from the XFL, Steve, what would it be that you want to see in this 30 for 30 if they do it?
Oh, man, one thing I would want to know?
Cheerleading footage?
Yeah, maybe. I mean...
Give me the extras DVD for that.
I don't know what I would... I mean, I watched them all.
Yeah.
So there's there's no deep, dark, hidden secrets within the XFL.
Do you think Vince would be a part of this?
That's the thing I want to know is if Vince would be a part of it. How does he not be a part of it?
I think probably someone from that time with WWE would probably speak on it, but I don't think Vince would. Was Kevin Dunn a producer on that? Did he produce?
I'm not sure. You know what I would like to know is how the NFL truly felt about it at the time.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good one. I'm trying to look to see if Kevin Dunn, because Kevin Dunn was, he's a producer, of WWE television. I was wondering if he was, a part of XFL, and maybe if he would. I don't think he would talk, but still, it was cool.
Do you also think that the XFL would be better, would survive now because of how much Roger Goodell pisses off NFL players? Like, there'd be a league that guys could potentially jump to, and Vince McMahon would shell out money for, top-tier guys?
I think it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, all of a sudden, someone would be like, well, you know what? Vince McMahon's willing to pay me $3 million or whatever. It's fine, great. I'll go do that for a year. Screw you, NFL. And then it just kind of,
I think,
picks up from there.
Yeah, I could see that if XFL was around today. I just don't see room for two big football promotions in America. Yeah. NFL's established. Everybody knows the NFL. I think when you had the XFL, I think it was not mainly, but it was football fans, but a lot of wrestling fans.
Yeah, sure.
So how would you get the casual NFL fan or hardcore NFL fan to be invested in watching a game that has kind of maybe roles you understand, maybe guys that going emotion, kind of like arena football when you first watch it.
They were able to go forward.
Why are the guys doing this? And maybe if you're not a fan of all the hoopla of, if you don't like cheerleading cams, if you don't like fireworks and all that, the whole presentation, if you're old school and just want football, I mean, that could be something that can be turned off too back in the day. But
yeah,
I mean, it was taking probably the casual NFL fan and watching XFL. But I would never see room for it. But if players would say, "Hey, I'm going to go with XFL," I don't think the money would be as much. I think they could probably sit out the rest of their contract and still get paid if they had that chance.
Yeah, it all depends on that guaranteed dollars there.
But still, I mean, this is a 30 for 30 that I would love to watch.
What WWE wrestler, if you think back at the time, did you most want to see, man, I wish this guy would have been in the XFL? Was there anybody?
No, because
at that time though, I think back Prince Albert was there, and it's why was this guy not a defensive lineman?
Well, yeah, I can see that, but
right? Can you imagine if you allowed Brock Lesnar to actually play out there in the XFL? I mean, when he tried out for the NFL, and he was
terrible.
decently close.
No, he was terrible.
But that's for the NFL. Yeah. For the XFL,
I mean, what's the difference?
He would have destroyed people, don't you think?
What's the difference if he's a defensive lineman? What's the difference in play between XFL and?
What is the difference in level of play?
Well, I'm sure the level isn't decreasing enough that Brock Lesnar is out there just dominating the field. I mean,
I don't know. He hate me was a superstar in the XFL, and in the NFL, he barely got any playing time. Yeah. He was a return guy, and that's it. So I mean, there's definitely variances.
Yeah, there's guys who are 7th round picks that you might not think are good, and then they seem to be Hall of Famers. So I mean, but I never think what if The Rock was, a quarterback or something? Or what if Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Be a quarterback? This isn't the game plan.
I never thought of that. I never really thought of that way. I did enjoy Jim Ross in commentary, for football games.
Football,
and the King, having the wrestling team call football was pretty cool. But other than that, I mean, I didn't really. The games were It was just like watching minor league football, which is basically what it was.
They were like the TNA of football.
Oh, perfect analogy, Steve. They were the TNA of professional football in America. You had NFL, you had the hardcore, rest football fans that were never going to watch anything other than NFL.
Yeah,
WB fans, TNA, and you had the fans I like football. I'm gonna watch both. And then you had probably hardcore XFL fans that probably were like, oh, I'm not watching.
Yeah.
NFL, which are probably minimal, but But still, that's a perfect analogy. They were, and they lasted a year. A lot long, a lot.
TNA's lasted a lot longer.
Yeah, a lot longer than that.
So TNA might be more of like a USFL or Canadian football, but yeah.
But still, 30 for 30, I would love to watch that, and hopefully Coachman gets it done. Speaking of reality and more little news tidbits here, Stephanie McMahon came out yesterday. She's writing a book, memoirs of Stephanie McMahon growing up in the WWE.
Oh.
Now, there's a lot of controversial topics that she could possibly devote chapters to, but highly doubtful. Macho Man.
Set the record straight.
Macho Man, China.
Set the record straight.
But I highly doubt it. I will predict this is going to be a fluff piece, and we probably won't get anything controversial.
No?
No. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I think there'll be some cheesy stories about her and her brother. You know, it was always fun growing up and running around backstage with Shane. And I remember, meeting Andre the Giant or whoever, and it'll be stuff like that. Yeah, more than likely.
Nothing hardcore, no groundbreaking, shaking the earth stories.
She'll maybe go back to tell the story behind the thought process of her going on the Undertaker's cross.
Yeah.
I would like to know her thoughts on that. That would be fun to know.
Yeah. The whole WCW invasion, how she played, that played out.
Yeah. But growing up as a kid, I don't know.
We'll probably get a Triple H love story, how everything first happened, and
I don't think you'll get how everything first happened.
I think they'll be. It won't be true.
Yeah.
But they'll make something up. It'll be like, I saw, one in the back, and we did a storyline together, and we got closer to that's what happened.
Seven, just tell us the first penis you saw in WWE. That's what whether it was by mistake or not, okay? Like, you happen to walk by a locker room and the door's open, or that somebody was probably an ass and flashed it at her at some point, right? When she's like 16, 17?
I don't
know.
Vince's daughter?
Oh, somebody didn't care, I'm sure.
Macho Man apparently didn't care.
Yeah, well, allegedly.
They will not address that in the book, but I mean, it's going to be a fluff piece, and I don't think there's any
somebody had to walk into her dad's office at some point, pretty much naked, not realizing she was in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's going to be stories like that. Your kid hanging around the locker room, something happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure something happened, but what they talk about in the book, you're probably going to have a chapter about, charities and stories about that. Empowering women, how she's a woman in a male-dominated industry.
Yeah.
And, growing up with shit, it'll be a fluff piece, but...
Will she talk about Andrew Test Martin?
I'm probably the storyline, but...
Yeah.
She'll say, Test was so sweet, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But nothing groundbreaking or,
Right.
It's not like... They're calling it memoirs, so...
Yeah.
You go, can you write memoirs and be controversial? Memoirs, when I think memoirs, I'm thinking, oh, nice.
Right.
I could take this book underneath a tree in the willows and read and sip my tea and enjoy.
What about I would like to know, I think, like, who she feels she's closest to, maybe.
Like family wise?
No, like wrestler wise.
Okay, yeah.
If she's still maintained a friendship with somebody who's left or whatever, or comes back, and because I think Jericho has mentioned a few times that, like, he's actually pretty cool with her.
When was the first time she saw a pile of coke in the locker room?
Yeah, how about that?
There you go.
Drugs, yeah.
Everything.
Tell us who was juicing, Steph.
Who was banging who, Steph, all right?
Yeah.
That's what we want to know. Back in the mid-'90s, late 90s, when she was starting to get involved. How about, like, her physical appearance and how that has changed over the years?
Absolutely.
Do you think she'll mention that?
Yeah, right? She has to.
Deciding whether or not to.
She allowed Chris Jericho to make fun of her for it.
That's true, yeah. But
she's talking about being a mom in the industry.
Yeah.
Having grown up in it. Does she want her kids around it?
Be a star.
Be a star.
Talk about that probably. But either way, will you read it when it comes out?
Probably not.
No?
No. I mean, maybe.
You didn't read did you read Daniel Bryan book?
I read a couple chapters and maybe a quarter of the way through.
You're not a reader, are you, Steve?
And I thought, oh, I can't. I'm a writer, buddy.
You're not a reader?
Speaking of memoirs, I let that one go.
Usually readers and writers go hand in hand. I love to write and love to read.
What? You're too busy writing to read.
I love to read.
Oh, I mean, some stuff I'll read, but it has to really interest me.
Favorite wrestling book?
All the Rocks.
Yeah, The Rocks. I love Foley's too. The first couple, his last, like the third one was eh.
Yeah, I haven't read his last one.
But his first couple were pretty good. And like they came out when we were kids, and I'm reading about all these guys like friends.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy crap. But The Rocks are pretty good. So let us know what your favorite wrestling book is. This is Awesome Wrestling Show.
It wasn't. I tell you, Daniel Bryan was boring. I'm sorry.
Well,
it's not.
He did stiff us for the show. So.
It was not fun for me.
I didn't like how he had the ghostwriter, like, you know, Daniel Bryan wrote it as like a real person, real life, and then they had the ghostwriter talk like,
yeah, maybe the ghostwriter ruined it.
He's battling Triple H. Oh, what's his like mindset? Like, dude, I know it's fake. You know, shut up. But whatever. I didn't. Brock's were good. Mick Foley, Stone Cold had a book.
Yeah,
Jericho's are good. Jerry Lawler's was good. Ric Flair's was good. So there's some good wrestling books out there. I downloaded the Hitman's book.
Oh yeah.
From like 2008. I haven't read it yet.
Hmm.
I read Shawn Michaels. That was a load of BS.
I'm sure there was a lot left out of that.
A lot of saving, God and all that.
Yeah. There's a lot of things he doesn't want to talk about anymore.
Yeah. So that, those are pretty good. But, yeah, I have a lot of good wrestling books that people need to read if they're a wrestling fan. But is there one wrestling star that if they did write a book that you would definitely read front to back?
If they did write a book?
If they did write a book.
Is it a current wrestling star, you mean?
Could be current or past.
Oh, man.
That you would read front to back. You'd be invested into the book.
Well, I wouldn't believe anything that is in Hogan's is the problem. So
you would have to like label every paragraph either TB or HH.
Right.
You're not gonna know who the fuck he's talking about.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of stories there you want. You know what? I would want if Vince actually sat down and truthfully told us everything, I would read that. I don't think he will.
No.
But that.
He would be, you know what? If he did, he would be immediately a New York Times bestseller.
Oh, easily.
And that would stroke his ego even more, like at his age right now. I'm a millionaire.
He could write multiple books, like each kind of having a different version. It could be all be about how I built the business. Just strictly the business side of it.
My secrets.
All the way to taking it to becoming a publicly traded company.
Yeah.
And things after that. And going from territories all the way to that. Then he could talk about behind the scenes and everything and storyline stuff or whatever, a memoirs book, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, there's so many different angles of which he could go that he could get 3 or 4 books that are completely different, each 300, 400 pages, something like that. But I'd read those.
The way he is now, there is no time for him to do that.
No, absolutely not.
I don't see him stepping away until the day he dies.
Yeah.
So we might never know. Maybe there'd be a post-biography on the man after he passes away, written by Stephanie McMahon. Stephanie McMahon Helmsley.
I think Paul writes it.
Well,
yeah. I just think everybody that you would really be interested in terms of a book has already done it.
Yeah.
The Rock, Stone Cold, Foley. They're smart with that. The Undertaker is not.
I wouldn't want
Only because he's been around for so long with so many people.
He is a boring guy.
Yeah.
I feel like his book would be boring.
That's why I need to know those stories with other people.
I threw Mick off the cell. It
Yeah,
looked really bad.
I don't know.
Rest in peace. He's not his promos are terrible. Just not a guy that I would be like, oh yeah, Undertaker's book. It would be
I know whose book would be entertaining.
Whose?
Colonel Robert Parker.
That would be a good book.
He's so great at stories.
Yeah, that would be great.
When we had him on here,
That'd
that
be
guy
great.
wanted to talk for another 5 hours.
I bet he has a lot of stories.
Yeah.
That would be a good
And
book.
they're very he's a colorful storyteller.
Yeah.
He doesn't necessarily give you every detail, but he gives you really great details that paint the picture for you.
I agree. I think that would be a good book. If there was a current guy that I wanted to see write a book, jeez, didn't Lesnar write a book? I think Lesnar wrote a book.
Probably.
Brock Lesnar book.
Jerry got a book,
Yeah,
right?
Death Clutch. My story of determination, domination, and survival. This was back in 2011.
Oh, Paul Heyman.
Booker T has a book. Yeah, Heyman would be a good book.
Yeah.
Booker T has a book. Jericho has a few, like we said. Booker T has a few books out. Batista has a book.
That's ridiculous.
Bischoff
has a book, right?
Huh?
Bischoff?
Yeah, he does. Hardcore Holly has a book. Lex Luger,
Of course.
has a book. There's a couple of good wrestling books that I read. The Death of WCW is worth the read. Oh, here we go. The Undertaker, the unauthorized real life story of WWE's Dead Man.
Ah.
So here's a book. It's 39 pages long. Must be like a picture book.
Yeah.
Not good ratings. I'm just looking at Amazon. Bob Backlund, Dusty Rhodes, Kamala, The Road Warriors. All these wrestling books I need to read. Terry Funk has a book.
I knew that, yeah.
The Squared Circle is a good book. Edge has a book. Wow, I need to add these to my Kindle.
I knew Edge had a book because I actually just watched the Edge and Christian show the other night.
There's a Chris Benoit book.
Yeah, I bet there is.
Post-suicide murder book.
Oh, terrible.
Yeah. So, So, Stephanie McMahon, I'll read it, but I'm not expecting much.
Might give it a once-over.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll be leaked, when it comes out, people will highlight what's good. And if it's good, juicy.
Yeah, she throws some before and after pictures in there.
Don't think that's happening. Do not think. What is the book?
I would like her to comment on how I want her to tell a story and truthfully mention how she felt when her husband basically made her boob pop out on national TV and then pedigreed her through an announce table.
Now, they trademark. Yesterday they announced the book, and they trademark a slogan for the book.
Uh-huh.
Now, it's officially trademarked by WWE for a book. And we can attest that it's going to be for Stephanie McMahon. But what would this title be? What do you think it is, if you don't know already?
Something to do with her song. I can't remember what the hell the words are.
No. Lady Balls.
Wow.
That's what WB trademarked yesterday for a book. The same day they announced Stephanie McMahon.
That should be a working title.
I mean, if it's called Lady Balls, it should be a little bit edgy.
It should be.
There's
But it
some
won't be.
juicy stuff.
That'll be, like you said, it'll be a lot about how in business and everything.
Well, let us know if you're going to read the book at Twitter at TIA Wrestling is our Twitter handle. All right, little short podcast here today. Really quick. So EC3 and James Storm, both TNA guys, they were trying out for The Amazing Race. The Amazing Race loved EC3 and James Storm, but they were not casted. That would be amazing television because EC3 is amazing, and that would be great to see two wrestlers on the program. There were a TNA couple, Brooke Adams and that Robbie E guy.
Could be. There's quite a
They
few.
were-
Maria
they were on-
and.
They were on Amazing Race.
Oh, really?
They were on,
Oh, yeah, a few years ago.
yeah. But they were TNA wrestlers. I'm trying to look up Robbie E, Brooke, and Robbie E. They were on Amazing Race.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Amazing Race. Don't watch the show. I know what it's
don't
about,
either.
but I don't watch the show. But I do know what the premise is. So you take two people, they travel around the world,
Yeah.
clues and whatnot. So Steve, if you had to pair two wrestlers together for the Amazing Race, who would it be?
Booker T and Goldust.
For the Amazing Race?
That would be hilarious. I would
That would
love
be fun.
watching them.
That would be good. That would be very entertaining.
Yeah.
Now,
They-
now these two guys in character, or just Booker T. Huffman and
I don't know that it
Dustin-
would matter
Dustin
because I think that they from the things that I've heard previously, they actually genuinely like each other.
Yeah.
So I don't think it would matter. I think they would still be entertaining, whether they are themselves or the characters.
Now, I would either go with, if they could possibly have a Freebirds rule for this,
The New Day?
the New Day,
That would be fun.
or if you're just going to do strictly two, Enzo and Big Cass.
You know what? Playing off of your New Day thing, so if it's like more current guys, since Booker T's not wrestling anymore,
Yeah.
I would actually want to see, just from listening to them on Jericho's podcast, Xavier Woods and Cody Rhodes.
That would be good.
I think
Yeah.
they'd be fun to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, anything involving Xavier Woods would be good television. But yeah.
So smart. How would you not want him as your partner?
Oh, I know. But who would be like, there's always the funny guys, the super serious guys. Guys are not entertaining.
Just
but
going to do
they're
it?
probably just fighting all the time, yelling at each other.
Yelling at each other?
Just going at it. I'm going to go Hulk Hogan. If he was still alive, I'll go Ultimate Warrior.
The Warrior? Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I'm going to go Hogan and Scott Steiner. Paired together.
I don't think they could do it.
Hey, paired together for the Amazing Race. Scott Steiner doing his math. Hogan with the map. That'd be terrific.
What about you know who would be fun to watch on there? The Young Bucks.
All right, yeah. That would be good.
They'd be fun to watch.
That'd be good.
But that's obviously they're always paired together.
Yeah.
So, who else? I was trying to think who would hate each
Yeah.
other.
Opposites.
Yeah.
Paired together.
Ric Flair and Eric Bischoff.
Oh, my God. That would be terrific. That would be amazing. That would be good. Vince and Ted Turner.
Oh man, they would just buy the race.
Yeah.
We just buy this thing.
Vince and Dixie Carter.
Oh boy, Dixie Carter and Jeff Jarrett.
Oh, boy. Wow.
How about that?
Vince-
Jeff Jarrett and Kurt Angle.
Whew. That'd be terrific.
Although I will say this, when I went to watch JR's show at WrestleMania weekend, Karen was like all about just trying to like bash Kurt and other people, and Jeff Jarrett's like is like, it's like I understand where it was at the time and everything. He's like, but look, I mean I love Kurt, and it's what it is. What it is. Like, you love Kurt, and you're sitting next to his ex-wife, but he's like, no hard feelings, we're all good. But they would be fun to watch to see how that really plays out.
Oh, I had Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart.
Yeah, make them get along.
Yeah.
Sure.
There's so many.
Oh, if he was still alive, I would love watching Stone Cold and Brian Pillman.
That would be interesting. Yeah. There's a lot of different. There's a lot of combination. They should do a wrestling only Amazing Race. I would definitely watch that.
It would be more entertaining than Ride Along,
Oh, definitely.
right?
It'd be awesome.
Put Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn on a team.
Oh, this is
This would be great.
WWE has to do something with the show for the network.
Renee Young and Dean Ambrose. Let's test the waters.
Divas. Divas.
Yeah.
Have Rick and Charlotte, father and daughter,
Oh yeah, that would be fun.
paired together.
Would you put Natty with Brett? No, I would want Natty and Tyson Kidd.
There, yeah.
Watch them together. That would be
There you
fun.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Jerry Lawler and bring back Jim Ross
Yeah.
because they hate each other.
How about,
they like each other.
Daniel. Well, you could sell Daniel Bryan and Bree.
Yeah.
They should go on it now that they're
This-
retired.
They should.
Why wouldn't they?
This is amazing.
Probably because it's CBS, so
We should
they gotta be
pitch this idea.
NBC Universal,
We
right?
should pitch this idea to the movie
Nikki
network.
and John Cena, or if you two dudes, I would like to see, because of how close they were behind the scenes. Seth Rollins and Daniel Bryan would be fun to watch.
There's so many.
Oh, I'm
Let's
just gonna
pitch
go
this
with
idea.
combinations all day here.
Let's pitch this idea to WWE.
Scott and Rick, put them on the team together.
It has to have Scott Hall and Kevin Nash together.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is amazing.
You could have Rick Steiner and Judy Bagwell.
Yeah. have Rey Mysterio and Conan together.
Sure, that would be fun too.
How about Chris Jericho and Ralphus?
Yeah. Well, obviously Edge and Christian would be great on there.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that they never did.
Yeah.
when they weren't before they did their show.
The Rock and Mick Foley.
Rock and Foley, Rock and Austin would be hilarious to watch.
WWE. We can just print money with the show.
Talking about people who would maybe rub each other the wrong way. Rock and Triple H.
Yeah,
that would be fun.
Yeah, we just made a show.
We made like 8 seasons of it.
Justin Summers, don't steal our idea.
We could just keep going with it. I mean, there's so many fun combinations.
Give the guys involved 4 months off TV for wrestling.
Yeah.
Book them in this network show, and you can print money, dude. People will eat this. People will watch this. People would watch this more than Raw.
Probably.
I think they would.
Put this on your network.
Yeah. Or
it can't be The Amazing Race, but it'd be something along the lines.
WWE guys, all right?
Yeah.
Teaming. There's each team has one WWE person and one TNA person.
But some of them would overlap and be okay because there's so many guys that have come up through the indies.
They're all buddies, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm saying to have that dynamic of WWE and TNA. It's like back in the 2000s when they had Battle Dome and WCW. Ever watch Battle Dome?
No, a couple times, but yes.
Terry Crews came from Battle Dome.
I know.
But they had DDP and Scott Steiner were on Battle Dome. Combine the two into one show. Dude, TNA and WWE, have what? I don't even know TNA. EC3 and Triple H.
Yeah, that'd be rough.
That'd be terrific.
Zack Ryder and Emma. I'm just thinking through possibilities still.
Yeah.
Zack Ryder and Dolph Ziggler would be hilarious.
Zack Ryder and DJZ.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yours are WWE TNA pair.
AJ Styles can pair with most of that roster.
Yeah.
I mean, there's girls. Would you watch Dana Brooke and Emma? They would be a team.
Yeah.
What about
Gail Kim and Asuka?
I was gonna say together. Gail Kim with somebody.
Asuka.
There's probably somebody that Gail Kim really knows there still.
Oh yeah.
At WWE, I feel like.
Yeah.
Dixie and Steph.
Be terrific.
Put them together.
We are just printing money with this show. WWE, you can credit us, please.
Tony Chimmel and what the hell's the guy's name on TNA?
Jeremy Borash.
No,
Josh Matthews.
Maybe it's
the
Jeremy
Pope?
Borash. I was thinking of. Yeah, the ring announcer. No, who's the ring announcer? Is that Borash?
Michael Cole and Mike Tenay.
Mike Tenay.
Yeah,
that's
Mike
what I was
Tenay.
thinking of.
Mike Tenay's
I want Tony and Mike Tenay.
Yeah. This is great.
You could have Josh Matthews and Byron Saxton.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is terrific.
We're on it.
We're making this show. We're making this. We're pitching the idea to WWE. If we don't have
they won't pair themselves with TNA, but it would still be fun to watch the WWE.
If we don't have this podcast anymore, it's because WWE gave us a lot of money for the idea.
Yeah, basically.
So, or we'll just be, broadcasting around a real nice studio. Real nice.
Coming up with more ideas.
Yeah, more ideas for network shows. All right, speaking of questions to ask, and this is our last topic to wrap the show up, because we spent way too much time on Amazing Race.
We did.
So last night, Kofi Kingston on Raw went back in time, came out to...
Which was hilarious.
SOS. He said, this is the best year. My 2009 was
my best year, man.
So, which WWE superstar would you take back in time if you could? Earlier in their career, maybe they had a banner year like a Kofi Kingston, even though I think this probably has surpassed 2009. But
yeah,
would you take back Damien Sandow back to 2012 when he was hot?
And when they were Rhodes Scholars?
Not even that, but Damien Sandow was hot even in the summer of 2012 when he first came out.
Who'd you take back? John Cena when before he was even the Doctor of Thugonomics. Remember that with his tight short shorts and the flat top haircut or whatever, a little bit longer.
He was the.
I would like him to call it the FU again.
Yeah, that was good.
I would push. I always thought that they ended up going. Yeah, that's what I thought. It was the prototype. I always thought that they did Randy Orton wrong.
Really?
I just feel like they told that story wrong. They had the opportunity to really go somewhere with him, like when they made him the champion, and then he could have been, we could have had this authority storyline way back then with him going after Triple H and Evolution. He could have been not Steve Austin, but a Steve Austin type where this guy gets done wrong or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, screw you guys. That's what he should have been.
Yeah.
You know, he could have been an anti-hero at that point.
The Legend Killer gimmick was awesome. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
The shirt, the NWO RKO kind of font with it was pretty cool. I enjoyed that, Randy Orton.
I'd like Ziggler to go back to when he was hot.
Yeah.
Who else? They're current guys, huh?
Yeah, current guys that you can take back in time. Go back. You know, if I would take Wade Barrett back when he was in Nexus.
When he was Nexus.
That was hot.
Absolutely.
Just killed that.
I always say I wish the Undertaker would wear his original outfit again.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Hey.
One more
you know
WrestleMania.
What? Nope. One more for me. Undertaker. Biker gimmick. One more run,
I
baby.
hate the biker
Let's
gimmick.
take it back.
I hate the biker
Love
gimmick.
the biker gimmick. Let's go.
Stardust back to Cody Rhodes. I actually enjoy Stardust, though.
I don't enjoy Stardust. I like Cody Rhodes. Yeah, take back Cody.
Do you want R-Truth to go back to K-Quick?
Same thing. What's the difference?
He's the same guy.
Getting rowdy. They're both getting rowdy.
I mean, everybody else is kind of all right. Okay, oddly enough, AJ Styles, I enjoyed before he had like the long hair and was doing this thing. He has some elements of it now, but when he was first in TNA, he had like the short cropped hair and stuff.
Yeah.
And it just, to me, was a little bit better. His personality at that point. Otherwise, I don't know. I'm kind of okay with the evolution of guys, or the ones who couldn't. I mean, Ryback as Skip Sheffield? No.
Kane before he could talk, and before the mask removal.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'll take that.
I don't mind the Kane with the voice. I didn't mind that, but talking on his own with no help, and then the mask coming off. Yeah, he's had a great career, Hall of Fame career. If I can go back in time, I would say no, keep the mask. Don't have him talk. Just keep that going. Please.
JBL to being an acolyte with APA, like APA style, badass JBL, not rich oil tycoon.
You don't like rich, like the JBL, the wrestling god. You don't like that?
Oh.
I don't like it either.
I always didn't like that.
The longest rating SmackDown WWE champion.
I got one. Alberto Del Rio with what's his name? Ricardo.
Okay.
Is that his name? Do I remember that right? Right? Ricardo Rodriguez? Yes. That.
Speaking of Del Rio.
Yeah.
Del Rio dating Paige.
Oh, that's right.
And it was rumored that he had
them on the network show.
There was a little rumor that he had a fling with Charlotte before Paige. And there's actual heat between Paige and Charlotte.
He's not married anymore, I guess, huh? I thought he was married.
That's why I thought he was married. Apparently not. They were kissing at Disney. Now
pictures everywhere.
Now this could be a work Total Divas thing.
Total Divas, sure.
Which Total Divas for those ladies listening to the show is totally fake, scripted. That stuff does not happen in real life.
Yeah.
But
there's some elements that are to an extent, like they captured Natty and Tyson, or they touch on that kind of stuff.
Well, get married?
No, but like when he had his accident.
Oh well, yeah, obviously
with Joe. And
but them getting married was fake. They've been married for years before the show.
Yeah.
So.
And obviously like covering Nikki going into surgery. Yeah, there's certain elements.
Stuff you can't fake.
Yeah. But you're right. Yeah, like setting people up. Well, like
So
the show Gary Barnage in his dating episode.
That was all stage 2. I posted some pictures on our website. This is awesomewrestlingshow.com. So Del Rio and Paige getting very close at Disney World, Disneyland, whichever Disney park, and the one in Florida, and
Disney World.
And they were kissing, which looks very awkward in the kissing photo.
It didn't look like a
which makes it believe that could be a work.
Yeah.
But then there is legitimate backstage heat between Charlotte and Paige because Del Rio allegedly was getting a little thing on with Charlotte before going to Paige. Now, I guess Vince, from what I was told, that Vince wants an actual feud because he loves real life storylines.
Of course.
Paige and Charlotte, when the storyline is over with Natty.
Oh man.
So we're gonna see probably a feud between Paige and Charlotte because of Del Rio, and then Del Rio is upset with WWE because he was promised a big championship push when he returned.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been in the picture really at all since his return.
No.
And Triple H doesn't want him to have the push because he feels like his ego would inflate too big.
I don't know about that. Having met Alberto Del Rio, he's a pretty nice, humble guy.
No, he's a jerk.
Gotta be honest. Was
He's a jerk.
not a jerk to me whatsoever.
Well, when cameras are rolling, they're different
there
people.
was no camera rolling. We hung out with him for like...
He was interviewing for media. Of course he's going to be nice.
Yeah, that was for like,
Guy's
10
a jerk.
minutes. He was
My
very nice.
Del Rio experience, maybe because I was hanging out with Miz, and I know Miz and him don't get along.
Well, that could be it.
But Del Rio, WrestleMania 28. Yeah, that was Miami, right?
yeah.
Okay, so we're at the hotel, WWE Hotel. Del Rio is sitting there with like his posse, and I remember him saying a little bit of Spanish, making fun of certain wrestlers in Spanish to his posse.
Oh.
And my girlfriend knew some Spanish. She translated what he was saying about people that were walking by. So a little dickish. I don't like Del Rio is not. I'm not a big fan of Alberto Del Rio, but he is, in my experience, a dick when the cameras are off and there's no media members around.
All right. Well, there you go.
But it is whatever. It is what it is. All right, we'll wrap it up there. Anything else you want to add to the show? We're going the full regular time, surprisingly.
No, I don't think so.
No, nothing.
I think we did a great job. We went off the rails there with the Amazing Race
Yeah,
tandems.
got a little fun.
Yeah, let us know if you've got a great
Yeah.
idea for an Amazing Race tandem. TIA Wrestling on the Twitter there.
Yeah, and hit us up on Instagram. We're on Facebook. Website is popping with a lot of traffic for news stories and our past episodes. This is AwesomeWrestlingShow.com. Shout out to AIW. They got a show Memorial Day weekend. 3 shows, a lot of surprises. We do know the tag team that will be in town facing off against Weird World. Is that those guys? And we do know who it's going to be. Sources have told us, and we're not going to be telling you. But if you don't have tickets or on the fence, and if you're not going to the Back to the Future show, you really should not miss the Back to the Future show because the ending probably is going to be.
You should definitely go to the Back to the Future show.
Yes. No, it's not the Smoking Guns.
It's not, no.
Someone asked if it was the Smoking Guns because Billy Gunn's going to be there.
Right, we were making that joke at one point. Yes.
Spark Gun will not be there. We can confirm that. It is not the Smoking Guns, even though that would be hella awesome.
I want to throw this out. Chris Clem, because we know you're listening at this moment, tweeted at us and said that Patton Oswalt, remember we were talking about who would be in the Andre the Giant movie?
Yes.
It is Bobby the Brain Heenan, and I threw out Patton Oswalt.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said Louis C.K.
Yeah.
And apparently this upset Chris Clem because he thinks Louis C.K. is nowhere near a better actor. Now, Chris, I don't think, to my recollection, and I guess we'd have to listen to the show again, that anyone argued one was a better actor over the other.
Just by looks.
We went by looks and personality. And I happen to think that Louis C.K. is funnier than Patton. And I just think that his type of humor was for Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think he would fit that role a little bit better.
I think believable character doesn't mean he's a better actor than on the other one.
Exactly.
Well, I think Louis C.K. is amazing.
He's funny in the show Louis.
And I love his stand-up.
And we need him to be a silly goofball as Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Yeah, delivery.
Patton was good on King of Queens, and that's fine. And he's done some serious roles, and I do think that he's a talented guy. But I just think in that particular role,
I agree.
Louis C.K. fits better.
Stick to wrestling, guys, says Chris Clem.
Yeah.
Well, we apologize for upsetting you, Chris Clem.
Yeah.
I do listen to your Cavs cast, the Cavs podcast.
Did you listen to the German one?
I have not listened to that one yet. But I do catch it when I can.
Wow, look at that.
So
that's very nice of you to throw that out. All right. What do you think? On to the finish?
On to the finish. All right, Steve. Your bit has lasted 2 weeks.
Woo!
And it's time for the amazing fit. Just kidding. It's now time for the awesome finish.
All right, so this week, the awesome finish, I've switched it up. I have given myself one finishing move that I think each week in and week out, I'm sticking with it. The F5 is going to be my move. It's devastating, and I just love the idea of Brock Lesnar just destroying whoever I want these moves done to. I think it's fantastic. Now, I had a lot of options this week. I could have picked all the people in Cleveland who are bitching about movies being filmed here, and they are the same people who feel like nothing ever happens in Cleveland. Well, you have movies in Cleveland, so relax yourselves. It could have been the Cleveland weather because we had 70s and sun, and then we had snow. But I am going to go back to a little story that was brought to my attention courtesy of one Chris Van Vliet on Twitter. Good friend of mine. And, CBS Sports was running an NBA poll on their website today. And the thing was, they said, who will win the NBA title out of the remaining teams? And their list of who will win the NBA title out of the remaining teams, Warriors, Thunder, Cavaliers, and other. There are only 4 teams left, CBS Sports, and you couldn't mention the Raptors instead of other? Just saying, bad job out of you. F5 to CBS Sports for not paying attention and being so lazy to... Like, who else is going to win it? You only have 4 teams to choose from.
I know.
That other is 1 team. It's not 5 teams filling in that other category, folks.
Yeah, I agree.
You get the awesome finish of a Brock Lesnar F5.
F5 on the floor!
All right, Steve. My awesome finish this week, obviously, sticking with the Vader Bomb. That's my awesome finish for the rest of this bit, however how long it lasts. I am going to give a Vader Bomb to Major League Baseball. I'm an old school guy when it comes to wrestling and sports. I like when a runner takes out a guy at second base. All right? I enjoy it. It happens. I've done it. It's happened to me. It's the game of baseball. Now, this guy, I think his last name is Oder.
Yeah.
Oder.
Odor.
I'm calling him Oder because he stinks. He got offended by Jose Batista's hard slide, got up, punched Batista in the face. Oder is suspended 8 games for throwing a punch. Batista 1 game. First of all, Oder should not be upset about a guy trying to take him out. It's part of the game. But 8 games for throwing a punch, 1 or 2 games would be fine. But 8 games, a whole week of one of your, starting players out of the lineup, do not like it. So I am dropping a top rope Vader Bomb
all the way from the top
to Major League Baseball.
Vader coming out now, Samuel Vega must move. Vader! The Vader Bomb! A cover, a count, and a victory, and I might add a very impressive one.
All right, it's going to wrap it up for episode 84, Steve. 84. Woo. 16 more episodes till lucky 100.
Oh, yeah.
Episode 100. 16 weeks away. If we double up, we can be 8 weeks. Probably not going to be doubling up anytime soon.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, we got the AIWJ next weekend, so maybe we'll get some interviews in there that we'll want to throw down.
Yeah, some breaking news maybe. If we,
you never know. Talk to old Kip Sop if he's willing to.
If someone
Billy Gunn,
someone says they mother F someone, we'll post it immediately.
Absolutely. But hey, we hope you guys had fun with this episode. We got to do a lot of silly stuff in this one. I think that was fun.
Coming up
with some dream team scenarios and Amazing Race.
This is what happens when Raw isn't worth talking about.
But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I hope everybody else had a lot of fun. Tweet us any ideas you had for the topics that we talked about. Love to hear them. Maybe we'll go back to it next show and just throw some of your ideas out there. And of course, every week, tweet us during the course of the week if you have someone that deserves an awesome finish. Let us know what that finisher is that they deserve and why.
Hashtag awesome finish.
Boom.
Or amazing finish. For like me. All right, we'll talk to you guys next week. See ya.